Hey, what's up? My name is DJ Mystery from Frankfurt, Germany. In today's video, I want to show you how you can improve the smoothness of your Innofader considerably. Stay tuned to find out more about that. Alright, so the Innofader Pro is probably the most common aftermarket fader, and I have these in my Native Instruments Z2. And the other day I was at a scratch session with two-time German DMC champion DJ Ray D, and of course he uses like Pioneer DJM-S9 or DJM-S11, like those very advanced recent mixers. And I felt that my faders were not as smooth, like by far not as smooth as his faders. So I figured out like there's a spring, I know, in the line faders, a spring that pushes on the little rails that the fader here slides on. So if you want to improve the smoothness of your line faders, it's very easy. You just have to bend those little brushes upwards, and then they don't have any contact to the rails anymore, and then the whole fader is a lot smoother. But I thought, okay, why is the crossfader, why isn't that, like, if it's really smooth, this would just drop, boing, but it doesn't. So okay, so there has to be something in here that prevents that. And I thought, okay, maybe you just have to clean it and then put it back in, and then it's fine. But it's not. I can show you how. Just be aware that yes, you will lose your guarantee if you open the fader section of the Native Instruments Z2 or any other mixer, and you will also lose your warranty on any of the Innofaders. So what you have to do is, there are 6 little feet that you have to bend back. You really just have to grab them and lift them a little bit and pull them back so they're out of the way. And this one in the middle, of course, that's soldered to the whole board, so you have to be really careful with that one. But I figured that this just really works very fine. Next up, like, now I've bent back all these 5 feet which are not soldered, and already now you can lift this up just a little bit, use a screwdriver, a flat screwdriver maybe, and get in here. See, and then you can just lift it up. Okay, there you go. So, and then you can just bend it outwards. See, and there it goes, right? So here is the sled, that metal plate, that's where the contacts are given, that's like the moving part of the whole fader. Okay, so then next thing, you have to push on the fader stem and just push out the whole rail section. Okay, there you go. So now what you can do, and what you should do, is just clean it. So, and here you can already see, these are those brushes that I was talking about. I hope you can see this. So right here, see, here is that little brush that is always touching on the rails, and that is hindering part of the smoothness. Okay, so first clean this, and now what you can do, you have to just pull on this one on the end, and it will just pop off. Here is that rubber ring that you need to keep. Then you can just take off the sled, put that aside, take the rails apart, and then here is that second ring. Okay, right. So now, here is the sled. Let's just clean this a little more. In here, this is where one of the rails goes. See? Right? here is that part where one of the rails is, just goes in there, right? And if you look down into here, I don't know if you can see this, there is a little plastic piece, and underneath it there is a little copper piece. And that's like a spring that pushes from the bottom onto one of the rails. So I'm just gonna go in here with a flat screwdriver. Here is that plastic part, like a silicone band. And down there is that metal spring. Here it is. So here, this thing is really, really tiny. Okay, you can see this. But this is another spring that presses onto the fader, onto the rails, and prevents it from going really smooth. And now you have that super loose fader movement. Okay, so it's really just that little spring that you have to take out. And now you just have to reassemble the whole thing and you're good. Make sure you reassemble it the right way. Right, one thing you have to keep in, really take care of, there is a little tiny spring in that corner of this black end piece, and you don't want to lose that. There we go. So here's that little spring. Now I'm gonna bend this spring that was on the fader. I'm gonna bend that upwards, so I'm not gonna lose any smoothness here. Make sure that this tunnel part where we took out the spring, that's on the same rails as the rubber rings. So now we have to put this back in here. And now what you really want is you want to loop this thing up. So you need some extra loop. And what I recommend, this is what came with my first Innofader, Deoxit Enhancer and Cleaner. So you want to put some on this. This is for lubrication. Not too much, just a little. Right. Oh, this feels really smooth. So put this back in. Make sure that this one, the feet with that little soldering on it, is in the same position as before. All right, there's a couple of things you have to keep in mind when you reassemble this. So on this little piece, like those, let's call them feet, those 4 little feet, they have to go downwards. Then you have to take the second part with that opening for that little spring, which is also downwards. Otherwise, it will not fit in the right way. Okay, and now that hole for the spring is now filled with this rail, so now you can put in the spring. It's really, really tiny. Don't want to lose that. Okay, and now first put it in here. Make sure you have the right side of the board. See, you can press it down. And it's still as smooth as hell. Right. Now you want to bend back all these feet. And now your Innofader Pro is super, super smooth. Make sure you keep that little plastic or like silicone piece of paper or I don't know, band, and that little spring. Make sure you keep that. Because if for some reason you want to go back, this is what you're gonna need. And now I have that effect that the fade is really as smooth as the Magvel faders. So put it on the cap. Super smooth. See, and it's really no problem putting in that little spring one more time. But now you got that mini Innofader Pro super smooth. So this is my tutorial on how to make the mini Innofader Pro a lot smoother, just like the Magvel faders. I hope you like this video. Peace, y'all. My name is DJ Mystery from Frankfurt, Germany.